This segment of Naperville Sports Weekly is brought to you by the Daily Herald.
We're here at Neuqua Valley, joined by Arnoldo Gonzalez, head boys soccer coach. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for coming out here on this hot day.
This is your first go-around as the head coach. What's it been like so far?
Lots of long days, but it's been a lovely challenge. First of all, actually an honor to be the head coach. It's been a very successful program. Aside from a program, it's a great community to be in. So for me, it's really an honor to really be at this position because not only are you the varsity head coach, but you actually get to oversee the entire program and hopefully take it in a direction. Not the right direction because there's no one way of doing things, but at least the direction I feel we need to be going for this program to be successful.
Now, on that direction there, you're talking about, you've been here for quite some time, so you've seen where this program was and where it's going, and now you get to put it in your own, mold it into what you want to do with it. So what's that been like so far?
Well, like I mentioned, it's been a successful program. We've been downstate, we've won state. I wasn't here for that state till this is my 10th year, but we've definitely been downstate since I've been here. So you try to take a little bit of everything. I've worked with several head coaches, and you definitely learn from them. Also been working on the girls' side, so working under Joe Moreau is also a great guy, so I also take from him. So you try to obviously bring your coaching experience, try to take from everyone that's been surrounding you, and try to definitely implement it and bring it onto the boys, and hopefully they understand that message.
Now, with your this being your first year, what are your thoughts on the start of the season? I mean, you guys started out 2-0, and then just kind of hit that rough patch there against North. So how are you guys feeling about the start of the season so far?
Well, actually good because when you look at the type of soccer that we've been playing, it's actually been good soccer. For the exception of, yes, that North game. I know there's a lot of factors. We had 4 injuries, and it was a very hot one. So it does play. They take those factors into consideration. But we've been pleased with the way we've been playing. Are we where we want to be? Not yet, but that's why it's really the beginning of the season, and hopefully by the end of the season, we are playing the way we want to be playing.
Now, you mentioned the heat being a factor. I mean, this is not a typical start to your September weather in this area. So how do you guys adjust on the fly like that?
Well, we're just hoping that the man upstairs helps us out, because at this point in time in the season, you're really not working and getting into shape, right? I don't think it's a matter of getting into shape. I think it's a matter of let's not have these hot days because it's really at times inhumane to be playing in those conditions. But what we were trying to do is really rotate everyone. Whether it's something you want to do or not, I mean, it's just the thing to do. It's so hot that it was unbearable for some of the guys to even stay out there, 20 minutes at a time. So I think it's just a matter of really listening to the guys out there, and just, for their own health. I think it's get yourself in trouble.
Has any of your players actually felt obligated to stay out on the pitch, or do they feel like they can go and talk to you and have no problems getting back in and out of the game?
Well, that's one of the things we had a conversation about even from the beginning of the season. We said we have 24 on the roster. We actually want to have a team of 24 and not 13. So with heat or no heat, it's been one of our goals to try to get everyone at par that if we do make that substitution, we're really not losing a beat. But then with Tuesday's game, it was one of the first things I mentioned, hey, we don't want heroes out there. You're feeling it, you raise your hand or whatnot, we definitely get you in. At the end of the day, it's a game. You're not going to jeopardize anyone's health, for a game. So, going into it, they know it's going to be a hot one. They know it's going to be a tough one. And there was a few who said, hey, you know what, I need one, which, sometimes you're not aware of those things. You're not the one on the field running, But no, it went well. They asked for their sub. We tried to, adjust on the fly, but, unfortunately, we didn't get the result we wanted.
Well, just in general, that's got to feel pretty good as a new head coach that your guys trust you, that they can go and say, hey, I need a break, and you don't have those heroes out there trying to just do it all on their own, basically.
Right. Well, that's one of the things that I pretty much tried to establish from day one, which was, open door policy. And not only with us, but just in general, we try to have a good group. a matter of, whether you like each other or not, but we do respect each other. But definitely that communication, it's a key, and you need to be able to have that trust in them, So yes, I think they trust me enough that they can, come to me and say, I need out,
So last year's team was very senior laden. You have a lot of now seniors who were juniors on the team last year. Does that make it easier coming in as a first-year coach, having a younger group now?
Well, it definitely is a plus, because there was some here last year. They can definitely talk about, some of their experiences last year, things that they liked or didn't like. And I'm not talking about, coaches or whatnot, but, the way they played or things that they like to adjust to. So it definitely helps. And then having also that young team or your lower classmen, well, definitely you want to mesh them, you want to gel, which is the main goal, to definitely have them gel by the end of the season. So having that good balance of young ones and that experience, it does help out.
So through the off season, you got a chance to get to know some of the guys. I'm sure some of the players that are coming back now. What were your any expectations did you have? Like what are some of the goals and expectations that you had as a coach?
Honestly, I didn't have any. I just didn't want to come in and then rude awakening. So I wasn't expecting too much. Unless I just said, you know what, I know I'm coming in. I knew I had a batch of, maybe 80 kids. We didn't know who was going to make it, who not, and sure enough, we have a freshman on the team. I had no clue, and he's there, and he's earned that spot, and everyone else, I think, has taken him under their wing, and I think they're understood that we're out here to really represent this varsity team, this program. So again, I wasn't expecting much. I just knew I was having a good batch of kids, and I think there's good talent. And again, now my job is to make sure that they work together, that they gel, and we make this group work as best to our ability.
You mentioned before talking about learning from other coaches, kind of getting a chance to gel into your own system. What are some of the differences that you've seen from different ways of coaching, even just here in this program alone in the 10 years you've been here?
Well, just the style of practice, the way you approach your practices, when to push them, when not to, understanding that it seems like, yes, there's a lot of games, but it's a short season, and you are playing every other day. So understanding yes, you want to push them, but when to push them, when not to push them, I think is key, because I know in the past, again, and these are things you learn, they kept being pushed and pushed and pushed. We're only human, and we're not professionals. They're student athletes, so we need to also understand that there's a time and a place when to push them, when not to push.
I would say one of these days with the heat being inside doing film studies, one of those days when not to push them.
They're doing film right now, and they're loving it. They're inside. They're in the AC. They said, "Are we having practice here?" Yeah, we're doing corners and set pieces in the classroom.
You mentioned the freshman. Is he? I guess he has to be one of those players that just stood out to you to be able to make the team as a freshman.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's just one of those players that you know from the get-go. They're well-rounded, and when I say well-rounded, we're talking as a person, very grounded, very skilled. Really has a soccer head on him, always doing the right decision. So it's someone that you know that maybe they're not ready just yet, but they're going to definitely grow this year, and it's going to be something good for the future, someone that you can definitely groom. And he also understood that role, so it was also a challenge he was willing to accept. So it's actually pretty good to have him on the team. Like I said, everyone's actually fond of Mr. Kuhn,
What's the guy's name?
David Kuhn.
David Kuhn. Okay.
But he likes to be called Kuhn.
Kuhn. We'll know that for when next time we see him on the highlights. You mentioned again before that you didn't have any expectations going into the season. So with that in mind, what would make this a successful season? I mean, is it obviously going back to the playoffs, a regional final? What's it for you that you'd see as a success?
Well, again, I mean, coming in, there was no expectation as to the teams. I had no clue who was going to make it. Once we had that team, we definitely, came up with some goals. And I think most importantly is how are we going to play as a team? And when we say how, not about a formation, but are we going to play 100% or are we going to pick a half, or what is it going to be? And that goal we try to set is to finish every game, to definitely play hard every single game, play to our game plan as opposed to playing into someone else's game plan. So win or lose, sticking to our game plan. So hopefully we do get there to the end of the year. So far, it's worked. There are some games, others not so much. We've actually, blown leads. It's happened.
And we can kind of go on to that, into that. Thursday night you had a match with Bennett. You had a 2-goal lead, let that slip, but you do get the win in penalty kills. So what does that say about your team that they can regroup and finish a game like that?
Well, I guess there's a positive and that negative. Like you mentioned, we give up a lead. And before even giving up that lead, I think we could have expanded that lead. It could have been, a 3 or 4, and we didn't. We obviously went into penalty kicks, and even prior to penalty kicks, again, they regrouped, and we actually created more opportunities. Again, so it definitely shows that if we stick to our game plan, not enter into panic mode, play into their style, if we continue to do what we know how to do, it's best. So if we do what we know how to do, we're going to be successful. If we try to do what we don't and try to get into their game plan, well, we're going to be in trouble.
You have a junior starting goalie. What does that say about his poise in a penalty kick shootout, that he's able to, guess right on a shot goes wide, but also then make the game-winning save in a sense to finish it?
Yeah. Well, I think going through a set of PKs the weekend prior to. He actually had another save in that game, and he had other good guesses. Unlucky didn't get on them. So I think he was going in with some momentum into these PKs, and right before the PKs, I was just like, he's like, I got it. I just almost like walked away, like I said, just in my mindset. And when he said that to me, I'm like, okay, I think he's just focused. I wasn't expecting him to go because he was big for us. He was all over those balls, and going on to that last PK, prevented us from even taking that 5th shot. It was big for us.
What does that say about his confidence going forward? I mean, as a junior, you know that he's going to be here again next year, but as the season progresses, he's now gone on to 2 PKs, made some big stops. What does that do for his confidence going forward, as well as for yours?
Well, I think I think it helps everyone out. I mean, especially him. It's a confidence booster for anyone. You're on the other end of the ball. You take that PK, you miss it, and it brings you down. And you're on that other side, you make the save. It's just going to make you bigger. But not only that, the entire team has gained that confidence, knowing that, hey, you know what? If we go into PKs or there is a PK during a game, we have Kessler back there. So it definitely helps everyone out.
Now, this is the Best of the West tournament going on. You're part of it again for another year. What has this early season tournament taught you about your team playing some of the best programs in the state?
Well, a whole lot, because actually, especially now that we are switching to the DVC, we in the past used to play North or Central, whomever, and that was that. We might see them in the postseason, but now we played them in the Best of the West, and we will play them for conference. So I guess it's a good thing maybe that we get to play them again and really see what we're made of, And if not, then it is what it is. If you want to be the best, you need to beat the best. So I'm glad we're in that conference. I'm glad that we are playing this tournament, because it definitely gives us a good idea of where we're at. We can gauge ourselves and then definitely set higher goals and know that we need to move forward.
What about the DVC makes it such a challenge?
Well, if you look at some of the teams in the DVC, normally they're ranked. Or if not ranked, they're always in the postseason. They're, some of the top teams. If you look at this area, unfortunately, we always knock each other out, by the time sectional comes, and then away you go. Not to take any, merit from the rest of the teams, but, normally there's a lot of strong teams in this area, and we knock each other out. So, I think if you do win that conference, you're one of the best teams in the state.
Well, Coach, that's all the time we have for today. So, again, I just want to thank you for joining us, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thanks so much, and thanks again for being out here.